Welcome to the 2024 Tatts Finke Desert Race and round 2 of the BF Goodrich Motorsport Australia Off-Road Championship. I'm Sam Charwood, your host for this weekend, and it is one of the biggest events in Australian motorsport, but also one of the most gruelling off-road events on the international calendar, the Finke Desert Race, and who will become the 2024 King of the Desert. There's no Toby Price this year, so it's a wide open field. It all starts tonight with traditional scrutineering, and thousands of fans have packed in to see what it's all about. Craig Lowndes, this is kind of uncharted territory. You've never done a Finke before.
No, I haven't. I think it's all starting to become reality now. Obviously, we've just gone through scrutineering and the public are here. It's tomorrow morning we're going to do Prologue, which is quite qualifying for us. And depending on where we start, it'll be really interesting to obviously come Sunday when the run down. It's all that side of it for me I've got to get my head around, but thankfully I've got Dale beside me that's going to tell me what to do.
Well, Brad, welcome back to Australia, all the way from Colorado Springs. It's great to see you back in the Ford Ranger Raptor this year. Have you heard much about the Holden-Ford rivalry in Australia? Because we get to kind of see that again this weekend with you guys taking on the Chevrolet.
Well, I'll tell you what, my son and I both watched the movie on the airplane trip over here. And yeah, I have some history in Australia, so well aware of the Holden-Ford rivalry, and it's great to be part of the whole story of that.
Well, Brett, you've got a very interesting story this year because you're behind the wheel of last year's winner, Toby Price's old truck, and you're driving part of the way, but you're not driving all the way.
No, look, I've got my own adventure just in front with the new all-wheel drive car. We want to develop that. That's the whole idea, but look, don't have much faith in it at the moment. I think it's still got a bit more sorting. And lucky enough, because I live next door to Toby, it was a no-brainer to acquire the car. It had been sitting since last year when it won here. So very easy, take the Red Bull stuff off, put our rivalry on it, change the seat, ready to go.
Well, one of the really incredible stories of the 2024 Tatts Finke Desert Race is actually happening in the side-by-side class. We've got Jamie Harrison. Jeremy, you're returning to Finke for the first time since a big accident. Can you talk me through why you've decided to come back?
I was riding a bike, crashed at the 80k mark after my first fuel stop. What happened was I went through some bull dust, hit a rock and cartwheeled, and the bike hit me and it broke me at what we call a T10, so basically belly button height. So I'm a paraplegic, no function in my legs, and yeah, driving this thing with the hand controls and excited about it. So basically I've got a mechanical brake on the left hand, and then both hands accelerate through this ring. Yeah. So it's all hands. You know, I've been coming here since 2007 racing, and I grew up in this area in the NT. So I loved always coming back, but more importantly, I feel like I've got some unfinished business. I'm a racer at heart, and I'm back to finish this race.
Prologue on Saturday morning sets the order, and of the first cars to set a benchmark is 7-time Bathurst 1000 winner Craig Lowndes. Aboard a Chevrolet Silverado alongside experienced navigator Dale Moscott, Lowndes would top the production four-wheel drive class ahead of Ford rivals Brad and Byam Lovell. The Transportable Shed Side-by-Side Championship welcomed a huge field of 40 cars to this year's Finke. The winner last time out in Pooncarie, Greg Campbell, had a tough start in Prologue, 12th in class. It was good news for his nearest championship rivals though, with James Mogford 4th and Lachlan Bailey 3rd. Jackson Evans was a surprise appearance in the top 3 and was barely 0.8 of a second from winning side-by-side Prologue. It was the top side-by-side seed in Jeff McNiven who would set the benchmark. He and navigator Jake Nicholson setting a 5-minute 10-second Prologue time.
That track really suits us, you know, that wet, slippery, it leads to the four-wheel drive. Our cars, it's great. It's the suspension's working the best it ever has. We were hitting everything as fast as we could hit them. To get here, and normally I don't even go that well in qualifying, so to get here and not finish 3rd or 4th or 5th, like to take P1 out, I'm over the moon.
Last year's side-by-side winners James Cook and Mitch Orcote step up to the AORC's Pro Buggy class in 2024, a steady start to their Finke campaign, 11th fastest. Prologue was a mixed bag for the Habe family, Aaron and Chelsea Habe sneaking into the top 10, while Carl Habe would ultimately finish Prologue in an impressive second place aboard the Pro Buggy. Mel Brandle continued to punch above his weight in the Pro Light class to sit in 9th. His nearest Pro Light rival, John Towers, down in 23rd. Looking to make amends after mechanical dramas last time out in Pooncarie, Matt Hansen was a steady 8th. In one of the more unique lineups for Finke, the extreme two-wheel drive of Billy Geddes and Corey Cooper was 7th fastest in Prologue. Aboard the former Toby Price winning trophy truck, Geddes would share driving duties with Brett Comiskey later in the weekend. Four-time Finke Bikes winner David Walsh would ride shotgun alongside Brent Smoothie, navigating in extreme four-wheel drive, 6th in Prologue. Barely a 10th split 4th place, with 9-time AORC champion Shannon Wrench getting the edge over Danny Brown. Andrew Brown and Danny Hardman were close to breaking the 4-minute 50 lap time barrier, 3rd fastest in their extreme four-wheel drive. Up front, the race would turn on its head before it even started. The AORC leader, Travis Robinson, rolling over in Prologue. He would eventually be seated in 14th for Sunday's race. Meanwhile, it was elation for brother Bo Robinson's side of the tent. He and Shane Hutt, some 2 seconds faster than anyone else. The trophy truck will lead the field out of Alice Springs first on Sunday morning.
Feels pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, it's been a hard slog getting here and everything. It's it's just good to keep everyone behind us tomorrow and just clean air. That's what you want, clean air. Yeah, well, obviously you know you're the fastest today, so you're only going to go better tomorrow, I assume. Especially in a truck course, just clean air, clean car, clean course, no one in your way. It makes a big difference, makes a very big difference.
Well, after a massive build-up, it is finally race day here at the 2024 Tatts Finke Desert Race. This is the morning that all these drivers dream about. We started with a cast of about 125 drivers. The field has been whittled down a little bit through a little bit of natural attrition, but basically it's 224 kilometres down to Apatula, or the Finke community, and these guys are really primed for this morning. A few really interesting storylines, but they really need to get their cars down there so they can make the journey back. It's going to be a fascinating race.
Keeping us cool and first to lead the field away is the trophy truck of Bo Robinson. He and navigator Shane Hutt enjoying a dust-free run. It was still tough going for the other side of the Robinson tent, this time mechanical issues plaguing Travis Robinson on Sunday. The AORC champions Finke was over. Sunday seemed to be a curse for a number of former AORC champions. Also out were Shannon Wrench, Matt Hansen, and Ryan Taylor. Next to attack Finke were Carl Habe and navigator Chloe Raw. But Carl's 2024 woes would also continue, the pair failing to finish on Sunday. After also encountering a rollover in Prologue, Aaron James reset and enjoyed a steadier run to Finke. Starting from 17th, the Pro Buggy would arrive at Finke in 10th. The Brandles would be fastest Pro Light on Sunday, arriving in 9th. 8-time AORC champion Mark Burrows avoided the troubles of his fellow past champions, making up 11 spots from 19th to finish Sunday in 8th. Trophy trucks would prove to be the order of the day. Starting 56th off the line in Alice Springs, Justin and Jamie Montesalvo carved their way up the order, finishing a mighty 7th. Starting from 4th, Danny Brown and George Apted only lost 2 spots to finish a solid 6th. Nick Commons and Ryan Galvin were steady in 5th, making the most of their trophy truck's comparatively smooth ride. Looking to the Transportable Shed Side-by-Side Championship, 33 crews would ultimately reach the halfway mark of the race. Second in Prologue, Jackson Evans was unfortunately unable to capitalise on his starting position on Sunday. His Finke adventure was done. Greg Campbell recovered after a difficult showing in Prologue, climbing 10 spots to sit second in Side-by-Side Pro. Troy Bessman also had a strong showing from 14th to 3rd in class. But fastest on Saturday, Jeff McNiven and Jake Nicholson were the first side-by-side championship crews to arrive at Finke, with a 6-minute margin to boot. But a cloud would hover over the side-by-side leaders after an alleged reconnaissance infringement. A 15-minute post-race penalty was to be applied, with McNiven needing another 9 minutes tomorrow to secure any chance of victory. Back to the AORC outright, it was a minor miracle for James Cook and Mitch Orcoat to even make it to Finke. Their pro buggy battered and bruised after a rollover. They would arrive in 4th, but will the pro buggy survive the journey back to Alice Springs? Brent Smoothie took full advantage of the experience from his navigator David Walsh to sit 3rd. While Smoothie would look after the truck on Sunday afternoon, Walsh would then catch a helicopter ride back to Alice Springs to start his bike leg. He would eventually join Smoothie later in the day, but now in the lead of the bike section. But the first car to arrive at Finke would ultimately be the Prologue winner, Bo Robinson, with an average speed of 132 kilometres per hour, surviving on a day that caught out many of his nearest rivals. Looking at the overnight leaderboard now, Bo Robinson holds a 1.5-minute lead over Billy Geddes. A driver change is still to come for the number 434 trophy truck, with Brett Comiskey to take over driving duties on the run back to Alice Springs. After some 230 kilometres of rugged terrain, there's still another 230 k's to go as we begin the return run to Alice Springs for the 2024 Tatts Finke Desert Race.
The 2024 Tatts Finke Desert Race all comes down to this. It is the second day of the race and there's just 224 kilometres left to decide who will be crowned King of the Desert. And for our top 5 drivers, there's an even bigger factor at play. None of them have actually won the big prize. Now, the race down there was dominated by trophy trucks, but as we know, anything can happen at Finke.
First to depart Finke are Bo Robinson and Shane Hutt. It's a position they've been in before, but the win has remained elusive after all these years. With some 230 kilometres left to go, Robinson will need to temper his flat-out style to bring it home. Next, Brett Comiskey takes over from Billy Geddes aboard the ex-Toby Price trophy truck. With limited running in the new car, Comiskey will need to bring his experience to the fore. 10th on Sunday, Aaron James was one of the first big names to encounter trouble. Losing just under a minute, he'd plummeted to 24th. Ben Falk and Jonathan O'Connor benefited from James's demise to arrive into Finke 10th. Falk would ultimately finish second in the Pro Light class, some 6 minutes behind a mighty run from South Australians Mel and Liam Brandle, 8th outright, but Pro Light victors. Splitting the Pro Lights were Andrew Brown and Danny Hardman in 9th, and victorious in extreme four-wheel drive. After gaining an almighty 49 spots on Sunday, it wasn't to be for Justin and Jamie Montesalvo. Their race would be done on Monday. Royden Bailey and Simon Herman would end up taking the Montesalvos 7th place, having started the day in 13th. Kent Battle and Adam Franklin were rapid in 6th, climbing 8 spots. They were some 6 minutes faster on Monday than their run the day before. Mark Burrows put his AORC and Finke experience to good use, setting a near identical time to survive in 5th. Michael Zacher and Dylan Blake carved their way from 12th at Finke to end up 4th in Alice Springs. Zacher was almost within earshot of the podium, but it was a gritty drive from James Cook and Mitch Orcote that saw them win the Pro Buggy class, finishing 3rd overall despite 2 separate rollovers on Sunday and Monday. But all eyes were on Beau Robinson. After several years of heartbreak and coming perilously close, victory has long eluded the Robinson family. But that streak finally comes to a close in 2024, with Beau Robinson and Shane Hutt finally achieving the Kings of the Desert crown, winners of the 2024 Tatts Finke Desert Race.
It's one of those things, it has sunk in because it's been 17 years in the making, you know, so it's good, it's a good feeling. Yeah, it's more than a good feeling, it's a relief, you know. It's been some heartache out here and a fair bit of emotion and that, it's good. So I actually think it's more of a relief than anything.
Yeah, that's great. Looking at some of the names on the trophy that you're holding, you're joining some very, very elite off-road company. Has that kind of sunk in yet as well? Yeah,
look, and I've known a lot of these guys since I was little, some of the older boys at least, and they're world class, as you know. At least a handful of them have done a lot around the world, so it's a good feeling. And but we knew we were always good up here. That was never a question for us. It was just a matter of stringing it all together.
A popular victory in the AORC paddock. One of the first to congratulate him was Brett Comiskey, who enjoyed a breakthrough result himself, his first Finke podium with 2nd place.
Awesome, mate. Adrenaline just flowing through the body. Good team effort. Billy G drove awesome on the way down, put me in a pearl of a spot. Hard decision to kick him out of the car last night and for me to take over. So I had big shoes to fill this morning and a bit of butterflies when I took off. So this morning that was my first go. I'd driven it around the car park for 10 minutes, so it was an exciting ride in that car.
Well, James Cook, I would argue no one has had to fight harder to get to the finish line in this year's Finke race. You've had 2 separate rollovers and you've managed to bring it home 3rd. Congratulations.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Not proud of that, to be honest. We've been racing for 3 years now and that's the first time I've ever rolled, which was in this event. So obviously just getting used to the car and probably pushing a little bit out of my means, but we really, really wanted this position to get on the podium. Prologue, the start of the weekend was terrible. I was super disappointed in the result. And me and Mitch talked throughout the weekend and said, look, if we can get into 5th place by the time we get to Finke and hopefully sneak our way onto the podium by the time we get back to Alice, that's the goal, and we managed to do it. So we are absolutely wrapped for the team. Everyone come up, family, friends, I can't thank them enough.
In the Transportable Shed Side-by-Side Championship, Jeff McNiven arrived back in Alice Springs some 14 minutes ahead of Greg Campbell.
It was a tough race, that's probably the roughest Finke. This is, I think, 7th or 8th time for us now here. We've never got first. We've been 2nd 3 times. 3rd, 5th, always a bridesmaid. So, to get there this year, and we got, over 13 minutes on our next competitor. So, we had a great time. We pushed the car real hard this year, and it's the best car we've ever had here. We don't have the new Maverick R yet, so next year we'll have the Maverick R, which is a far better car, and then hopefully we'll be able to get further up the outright order. I think we're 14th. I think we're 14th outright somewhere. So yeah, hopefully we'll get further up.
For all the latest news and for a full list of class winners and the latest championship points, just visit aorc.com.au.
That is a wrap on the Tatts Finke Desert Race for 2024. A breakthrough victory for the Robinson family and more than a few surprises through the order. Once the dust has finally settled here at Finke, the BF Goodrich Motorsport Australia Off-Road Championship moves on to Love Day in South Australia. And if this weekend has been any guide, this championship is only just warming up. I'm Sam Charwood. Stick around, plenty more to come.